What's up, guys, and welcome to my review for the 25th anniversary re-release of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So, this film I have reviewed on the channel once before, probably almost 10 years ago, before the release of The Force Awakens. So, yeah, why not review it? Look, I talked about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 and 3. Didn't get around to the first one, but I got on the bandwagon for 2 and 3. Have new reviews up for those. So yeah, this is The Phantom Menace, Episode 1. Star Wars is my favorite movie of all time. People say, oh, what Star Wars is? I don't know. I would probably say Revenge of the Sith, or The Empire Strikes Back, or A New Hope. Those are my top 3 Star Wars films. They always will be. And The Phantom Menace, this kind of has a special place in my heart. I never really talked about this on the channel, but look, this is a VHS tape for Star Wars The Phantom Menace. This is something. I got into Star Wars when Revenge of the Sith came out. Saw the trailer, said, I'm really interested in that. I've never seen it beforehand. So we went to the library and we rented a couple Star Wars movies on VHS. Now, this isn't that. I went ahead and got a tape of it and a DVD, which I don't have to show you guys here, but I put a VHS in. And the first ever glimpse I had of Star Wars, I popped in the VHS of The Phantom Menace. And you know how they're supposed to have the tapes rewound? Well, this was not rewound. I put it in, and the first image that I saw of Star Wars, ever, like of a Star Wars film, other than the Revenge of the Sith trailer, I wanted to watch more of it. So the first glimpse I really had to get into it was Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. Spoilers, it takes place, this is after Qui-Gon's death, and Obi-Wan is able to come out, and they have that duel. That was the first glimpse of Star Wars that I've ever seen, really. And I just remember putting that tape in and going, whoa, 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 whoa. What am I looking at here? And I just was glued to it after that, and then I was like, okay, I got to rewind it. So then watch the whole movie after that. But that was really the first glimpse of Star Wars for me, and I think that the Duel of the Fates and the Battle of the Heroes, you know, the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, and the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fight in Revenge of the Sith, those are the two best Star Wars fights you can say. Now, the Luke versus Vader in 5 and 6 are also in the conversation, but for me personally, the Duel of the Fates and the Battle of the Heroes are my favorite Star Wars duels, lightsaber fights. Let's talk about The Phantom Menace. Like, what hasn't been said about this movie? This is, not really going to be a rundown of the film. Like, if you guys seen my review for Spider-Man 3, I kind of went almost play for play with that. But, I for that film, I wanted to really get across my thoughts on that. But for this, I mean, I don't think this is a bad movie at all. I think when this came out, the reaction to it, just because it wasn't as good as the first 3, people said it was bad and disappointing. But now, in the age that we live in, the time we live in, we have films like Star Wars The Last Jedi, and we have films like Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Put them next to The Phantom Menace, yeah, The Phantom Menace is a better film. Think I'm crazy? Hey, that's just me. But this film, had an idea. George Lucas knew what he was doing. From The Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith, it wasn't just a bunch of different directors coming in, writing new screenplays. I mean, he had an idea of what this was going to be. And people didn't like that they took a more of a political route with it. I actually really like the politics of The Phantom Menace. The scene towards the end of the film when they're in the audience chamber, or whatever the hell chamber it is, with all the floating seat platforms that eventually the Emperor fights Yoda, that room, that chamber, I mean, that whole sequence, I was really into it and really invested into it. The Phantom Menace, why is this not a great film? Well, I think the first half of the first, yeah, about the first half of it is kind of dull. Now, I'm obviously invested into the story. I care about all that, but it's kind of dull. It's not until we get to the pod race that the movie starts to pick up, which is halfway through. We get to the pod race, we go to Coruscant, we go back to Naboo. That's when the movie picks up for me. The first half of it, it's watchable. I don't mind it. I would prefer to watch the first half of this movie over The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. But, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of George had to get into it, and by the end of the film, I believe he did. But the performances, a lot of people think some of the performances are wooden. I don't really think the performances are wooden. I think Ewan McGregor is the weakest in this than he is in the trilogy. In 2, he's better, and then 3, he's excellent. But here, he's also just kind of getting into it. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. I love that character. I love Liam Neeson in this movie, and how he's sort of the lead. I feel he gets the top billing, but I still kind of feel like he's the main character of this film. Liam Neeson is the one that takes Anakin under his wing and ultimately gets defeated by Darth Maul. But his final wish to Obi-Wan is to have the boy trained. Train him, train him, train him. So the whole entire saga is Qui-Gon Jinn's legacy, really. I mean, if you think about it. I really love the character of Qui-Gon, and I feel like if he survived, things might have been different. I don't know. Because Qui-Gon and Anakin have that bond. In this film, you can feel the bond and the chemistry between Jake Lloyd and Liam Neeson. When, Obi-Wan meets Anakin, he doesn't really want anything to do with him. He says the boy is dangerous, he's too old, listen to the council, all this, and then, Qui-Gon is just like, I'm going to do what I believe is right. How about you just learn your place and relax? And eventually, Obi-Wan apologizes to him. He says, sorry, blah, blah, blah. So they kind of reconcile before the end of the film. So by the second film, which, we're not really talking about here, but in the second film, I always thought Obi-Wan's journey in this was not wanting anything to do with Anakin, to reluctantly becoming his teacher because of Qui-Gon's wishes. But then through the Clone Wars, they become best friends and brothers, as we see in Revenge of the Sith. So that's kind of the arc of Obi-Wan in this trilogy, I feel like, which is an interesting arc, and I love it. I really love that arc. And Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker, I don't think he's giving a terrible performance. I've seen worse kid performances in films. I mean, he's got a lot of energy. I mean, some of the line delivery is not great, but overall, he's fine. And I think people were a little too hard on him. Jar Jar Binks, I'm not annoyed by him. And I'm not just saying that. My entire life watching this movie, I was never annoyed by Jar Jar Binks. The only things I didn't like about Jar Jar in this film was some of the lines he has are like, okay, cool it down a little bit. And the scene when he gets his hand stuck in the pod racer, I didn't like that. And the scene when the other animal farts in his face, didn't like that. But the rest of it, didn't mind the rest of it with Jar Jar in this film. Even with the final battle, the Gungans versus the droids. I mean, some of it's a little quirky and slapsticky, but at the end of the day, I don't dislike it, other than the couple things that I mentioned. So I don't mind Jar Jar Binks. Look, 1999. These I haven't had since 99. I'll just say that because I didn't get into Star Wars till 2005. But I'm a collector, so I don't have the full set, but I have some of them that I wanted to, showcase to you guys. The Episode 1, 1999 action figures. You got Jar Jar Binks with the Gungan battle staff. We've got a couple more. We've got Anakin Skywalker, the Naboo pilot, with the flight simulator. Unfortunately, I don't have Darth Maul. I haven't been able to find him. Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi duel, with lightsaber. I mean, these are really, really cool. 1999, these were on shelves. Watto, speaking of Watto, I love Watto. I love Watto in this film. I mean, he just feels really realistic of this guy that's running this shop, and he wants to make deals with people. I mean, he's a deal maker, and I like Watto. R2D2, great figure here. I don't want to take them out of the box. I'm going to keep them in the boxes. Yoda with the Jedi Council chair. Yoda there. And I've got two more to showcase to you guys. We've got Captain Panaka, who I also think is a really good side character. And this guy's given a great performance. I love Panaka in this film. And the final one I have is Boss Nass, who I love the design of Boss Nass, and I really like the character of Boss Nass. And one of the final things I'll talk about in this video is the relationship between the Gungans and Naboo, where at the beginning of the film, they don't want anything to do with Naboo because they are at odds. And finally, at the end of the film, when they come to the Gungans for help, they're able to reconcile and join forces. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. There's things in this film that really work. There's just also things in this film that aren't great. Maybe the pacing in the first half, some of the stuff with Jar Jar, some of the lines with young Anakin, but that's, I mean, really it. This is a good film. Not a great film, but it's a good film. The Phantom Menace is a solid movie with a fantastic lightsaber fight. The Duel of the Fates, John Williams' masterful his track of Duel of the Fates. And the whole soundtrack, the whole score to this film, John Williams didn't miss a beat with his theme for Anakin, the pod race, the Naboo stuff. The whole entire score is excellent. So, in the end of the day, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is a 3.5 out of 5-star movie for me. And that's where I'm comfortable to have it. I think it's a good film. I don't think it's a great film. Look, I'd love to go back down memory lane with Attack of the Clones. I don't dislike that movie either. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while, so I can't really give my thoughts on that really right now. But yeah, I'd love to do that eventually. So we'll see. But yeah, 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go see it in a damn theater, but I wanted to do a review. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it with you guys. Hopefully, I'll be able to check it out before it leaves. But if not, I mean, we just watched it on 4K a week ago. So, yeah, because we didn't know if we were going to get to the theater to see it. So that's, where this review is coming from, is that rewatch I had last week. So that's where I'm at with The Phantom Menace. And I do want to also show this beautiful Zavvi steelbook. Zavvi put out steelbooks for all 9 Star Wars films, or all the Star Wars films, and Solo and Rogue One as well, with the original poster art. The only one that looks different is The Empire Strikes Back. They didn't really use the poster. They just used Darth Vader's face, which is, I guess, the teaser poster for it. But this is beautiful. I mean, the Phantom Menace, this is my 4K copy. This is Zavvi disc. I put the US discs in there because, my OCD or whatever. But yeah, this is my copy of The Phantom Menace on 4K. So that's where we're at. So guys, comment. What do you think about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace? What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Comment that down below, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button, where, as I mentioned before, we got reviews for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 and 3 up on the channel now. New release films like Challengers, Arcadian, and Love Lies Bleeding. Check those videos out right now. And also upcoming reviews for Abigail, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Godzilla x Kong. A lot of exciting stuff on the way, guys. You can follow me on Twitter and or X at RyanKing72, and Instagram and TikTok at KingArises131. That's been it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And until next time, over and out.